What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. You're standing over there, and you're standing over there, and I don't know which way is up. We have a hell of a show for you guys today. I am very pumped to review a hell of a week for me and you, my man. We had a good week gambling, and also we had a ton of moves at the trade deadline, a shitload of news to talk about today. So I don't want to take too much time. My man, Evo, welcome in. How you doing, brother? Good week of gambling. Your team balled out as well. I mean, you got to be feeling very good right now.
Yeah, like it's weird because when good things happen in certain spots, bad things happen other ways. My fantasy team that's been doing really good all year had a really slump week and lost. But everything else went right in the football world, essentially, as far as our picks, my team getting the dub. A showing from my quarterback that is very encouraging. So that was exciting. And then also, as you can tell, I'm no longer in a different room. I'm back in the studio. So I'm back in Arizona after a pretty darn good trip out there to Ohio, getting to see the boys and have some fun time over the weekend. But yeah, back here, still furloughed employee as of right now. So that's fucking awesome. But happy to be back. Happy to be going over this last week 9, and everything that kind of went down today, because a lot of trades went down today at the trade deadline, really shaped the futures of some teams, not just in the short term, but in the long term for some of them as well.
Definitely, man. You're talking about multiple first round picks that were on the move today. Guys in the later rounds, for wide receivers, we saw wide receivers get moved around a lot today. I think one of those additions is going to pay dividends for a team. But man, there's just a lot of movement, and a lot of late round draft picks got moved today. I know my Browns had one trade, was very kind of inconsequential, but man, it was an interesting day. I was expecting a lot more news from my team. I'm very glad that it didn't go that way, but man, are we ready to pop up the all this green shit to show the people how it did for them this last week?
Absolutely. So looking at week 9, pretty solid week, a lot of green on there. And you and I kind of had a lot of bets that followed each other. And so that, helped our records pretty much match a lot there. The one that we didn't agree on was the Carolina Green Bay game. And I got lucky on that one because, I gave Carolina 13.5 points. Little did I know that Green Bay just likes losing to teams that aren't doing too hot or aren't at least perceived as being too hot, because realistically, the Carolina Panthers right now, they are a winning team according to their record. They are 5-4, and they got that 5th win in Green Bay versus Green Bay, which was definitely surprising. So I'm glad I took the points there. But other than that, we had a bit of an upset between Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. My Vikings in Detroit is definitely considered an upset. It's the largest spread win that the Vikings have in quite some time, and kind of an important game for my team. We saw the Kansas City Buffalo game, which honestly I kind of felt was pretty boring and inconsequential in many ways, but Buffalo did end up getting the win there. And then we had Monday night's game, Arizona versus Dallas, where Dallas decided not to show up because they were too busy talking about Jerry Jones and his trades that he was going to be doing today, which ended up happening. Initially, it seemed like the one trade that happened with Logan Wilson and the Bengals was like, this is what they were gonna be all hyped up about. This is gonna fix the defense somehow, and felt like it was a little bit of a joke. And then some more trades ended up happening, which makes a little bit more sense. I don't think it's going to absolutely fix everything, but a little bit more action did happen there. But yeah, in total, you went 9-5 on the week. I went 10-4, bumped up our winning percentages there. You got 72 wins on the season. I got 79. You're sitting at 53.3%. I'm at 58.5.
Pretty good percentages there. You are still rocking a great percentage. I want to be up over 55, but now 10 over 500, 7 games back at you. I'm excited to see, how we finish this thing out, man. We still have not had one of those crazy downturns yet. Obviously, that happens at any time. Vegas will bite you at any moment. So people, please, if you are gambling, if you are following these picks, gamble responsibly, bet with inside your means, and make sure you don't play cards with Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, that's kind of it's one of the weird things about the NFL is you feel like you start to get to know some of these teams, and then really by November, mid to end November, you start to really figure out who they are. But this year, especially, just seems like we just don't know who a lot of these teams are going to be because we're seeing weird upsets. You're seeing a Carolina go into Green Bay and beat them, and you're seeing some of these kind of more wild upsets where it's like one week the team's like, hey, their defense performed well, and then the next week's like, what fucking defense? Uh, it, it's a lot of parity in the league, which as if we weren't gambling and as more passive fans of a lot of these other teams, that makes the league a little bit more enjoyable because any game could all of a sudden get exciting. It's a lot more difficult from our perspective though, with the show and everything that we do and trying to give you guys the best possible bets that we can. But obviously we are still hitting above that 500 mark. So we're getting more right than wrong, and that's really what matters. And we'll probably only continue to get better as we go along here and truly figure out who these teams are.
Absolutely. But we did. Producer Amber brought it up. She's like, I swear to God, I only pick games where you guys get it super fucking wrong to make clips out of. Because we choose these games beforehand because we have to kind of decide which ones we're gonna go with before we know what the fucking results are gonna be. And by the time, if we get one of those fuckers wrong, man, almost certainly that is one that we have picked. It goes out, and there are just 100 people on TikTok calling us fat tards.
Yeah, look, I mean, we enjoy the publicity, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all publicity is good publicity. That's the saying, right?
Yeah, that's the saying. It's not completely true. Like I don't know how much the publicity is helping Diddy right now, but in a lot of cases, being in people's mouths and getting talked about isn't a terrible thing for boosting your traffic, at least. Maybe not your image, but your traffic. So we'll take it.
Man, I shout out for being in people's mouths.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, with that, I think we can probably just about get to going over the week 9 games, but we do have to pay the bills here. We do have to do our normal segment here. It is sponsorship or cease and desist. What's going to come first? We don't know, but we will get there sooner or later. And with you this week, we got to thank our fantastic sponsor, your dream team of streaming gang rape, Disney Plus, ESPN, and YouTube TV. Now, as a warning, if you're on a plane or in a public setting and you're watching us, now would be the time to insert your headphones. So yes, Disney Plus, ESPN, and YouTube TV. This three-headed hydra of corporate greed is back again to point the finger at each other for being too greedy, all while stealing your money with no remorse. Nothing says we value our customers like pulling ESPN and ABC right before, say, a Monday Night Football game. Amazing timing, guys. I bet some executive at Disney is popping champagne right now, celebrating another record-breaking quarter, and blissfully skull-fucking one of the leftover concubines from Epstein's Island while you're at home staring at a blank screen, simply wanting to watch some sports, wondering why you have become the whore who is actually paying to be fucked by the man. YouTube TV, you're charging 70-something bucks a month for what exactly? A front row seat to a contract dispute? A fancy way to watch an error message in 4K? Sorry, this channel's unavailable. There's currently a contract dispute. No, what's unavailable is your ability to provide your customers with the service that they're actually paying you for. And rather than figure your shit out, you feel just perfectly content with doing a performative shrug of the shoulders and spewing some bullshit line about how it's the other mega corporation's fault. And Disney, good old Disney, the company that owns everything from ESPN to Marvel to your childhood. But somehow they're so incompetent that they can't figure out how to keep football games on the air. Maybe stop pumping out your 15th live action bullshit superhero movie where you decide to change the race or gender of a character to pander to your woke minority and get back to the basics of actually providing the services that you are there for. I mean, come on, Mickey. I know that I'm hauling around this dump truck ass, but maybe instead of fucking me, you should get back to jackhammering Minnie and that sweet, tight little mouse pussy. Now, sports fans everywhere are losing their minds, and rightfully so. College football fans were refreshing their social media like degenerates, trying to find clips before they got yanked down for copyright violations. Meanwhile, all these suits are sitting in meetings arguing over who gets the extra zero on the end of their bonus check. while the rest of us are screaming, just give me the fucking game. So here's to you, YouTube TV, Disney, ESPN, the unholy trinity of disappointment. Make your servers crash. Hopefully your execs get paper cuts. Your customer support bots choke on their own canned responses. We can see through you better than we can see through Sydney Sweeney's dress and those fat fucking jugs at the Variety Power of Women event, which, by the way, sidebar, nice. Making me wetter than a Waffle House menu. But back to the real topic. Just because the government is shut down and the left wing and the right wing like to take advantage of their constituents, aka leverage, for their political games, doesn't mean that you should do the same. In life, everyone is given a chance to not be a scumbag. So why do you have to actively choose the scumbag route? Do you not recognize that people are already hurting, struggling, and losing benefits and paychecks, all because of some dick measuring coming from the geriatric, out-of-touch douchebags in Washington grappling for power? Why not continue to collect your money for your already overpriced and underperforming services, and then you can feign taking the moral high road by just letting people watch some sports to take their mind off of the shitstorm that is happening around them? So again, this episode is proudly brought to you by corporate greed, because who needs fans when you have shareholders? Now we can get back to our show, assuming that we're still on the air and not being rolled up into this kangaroo court. Now, none of these streamers are actual sponsors, and we might get in trouble for it, but we don't really care.
Hell yeah, that was excellent. Dude, I was so fucking angry. We went through, 30 minutes trying to figure out how to upgrade whatever plan I needed to go to fucking ESPN's app and watch the goddamn Monday night game. And you know what? To no avail. It didn't fucking matter because they had sabotaged the entire operation to begin with. I did finally get to watch that goddamn game on NFL Plus today, but it is absolutely insane. Mickey Mouse needs to keep his grubby little dick beaters out of my fucking pockets.
You know, like, that's the thing is, I'm not mad at just ESPN/Disney. I'm not just upset at YouTube TV. I'm upset at both of them, because guess what? It's ESPN and ABC, Disney, whatever, saying that, like, hey, this is our new price to run our shit. YouTube TV saying nope. So YouTube TV's pulling them, but then YouTube TV looks like the asshole for pulling off content from its viewers. But then you have Disney and ABC and them coming today to YouTube TV and saying, hey, actually, can you put our stuff back on just for today because there's elections going on and it's got a big turnout? Like, they can't figure out, do they want to be friends? Do they want to fight? Are we negotiating or are we not? Meanwhile, we're stuck in the middle getting fucked. Like, I'm probably paying for every streaming service right now, and I'm lucky because I have the ability to pay for that. Maybe not for long, depends on how long this fucking shutdown goes for, but I'm lucky in that respect. So I was able to put up Hulu last night and watch the game. But a lot of people can't. And looking at my bills for all the shit that I pay for, I'm paying more than I was for DirecTV for theoretically less. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. This was supposed to be an ease of use thing for people to be able to stream the content that you want to stream and not pay for the extra bullshit. And here we are paying for the extra bullshit and getting fucked as the consumer. It's bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's just going to continue to happen and in droves for quite some time. While we have a few people here, I mean, quite a few actually, very early, and thank you guys for all being here. I'd like to give you another piece of information about how the corporations are all fucking us. Did you know that the Cayman Islands holds the most bonds of U.S. government fucking debt?
I did not.
More than Japan, China, and fucking England. The Cayman Islands. They own more of our bonds than they have of their own gross domestic product. 80% of that is owned by hedge funds in the Cayman Islands. I wonder who's buying all of our debt.
I don't know. What I do know about the Cayman Islands, this is a great place to vacation. I would highly suggest.
Yeah.
Been there once. Fantastic
time. A bunch of money, make other people spend. Man, we're going to get I got it. Well, this side. Tinfoil hat. I got it right here, baby. Mm-hmm. All right, man. Let's get off of this. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Let's get off of all the conspiracies and let's go talk about football and the fucking trades that happened, my man. You ready to start the recap?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Ravens Dolphins game happened. We did have some trades and moves that happened with both of these teams, though. We're not going to completely recap that game because we already tapped on it. However, we did have some trades go down there. So you've got Jaire Alexander, who ends up getting traded from the Ravens to Philadelphia, where it's Jaire and a 7th-round pick. Baltimore got a 6th-round pick in return. Jaire Alexander, who had been a healthy scratch for, I guess, 2 games now. I didn't know if they knew that the trade was impending or if it was just more of Jaire Alexander's antics. Either way, Philly was saying, hey, we've got cornerback issues. It's like our weakest part of the team right now is that secondary. And they made some moves to try to address that. They also had traded for Michael Carter II from the Jets earlier, getting Michael Carter in a 7th and then trading John Mechie in a 6th-round pick for that. But Philly wasn't done there. We'll have more trades happening with them. We had a defensive end coming over from the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Phillips, and Miami got a 3rd-round draft pick in 2026 in return for that. So they continue to kind of bolster their pass rush there in Philly.
Listen, Philly is going to continue to go after guys. Howie Roseman has been doing this. We used to bury Howie Roseman, but he has figured out a recipe. He will go out, he'll spend some picks, he will build depth in those trenches, and he'll just send out a fucking conveyor belt of dudes, and they will get pressure.
Yeah, that's like we are not afraid to eat crow on this show and stand up business when our picks and our statements are wrong. And Howie Roseman is one guy that we really like to bash. We even had Philadelphia Shithawks sideline reporter Roberto Gussolini, who was kind of on board with that. Wasn't a fan of him. And then things really turned around pretty fucking quick. And he's done like he might be one of, if not the best GM in the league right now with how he's worked trades and deals and managed that team and kept them super relevant, Super Bowl worthy in recent years. So the other big one that I fucking missed on was when we first started, when I first got on this show with you, I wasn't a huge Josh Allen guy. I wasn't there seeing, like, obviously he had the physical potential, but because of the mechanics and everything, I wasn't seeing him put it together on the field yet. And then it all clicked right around year 3 and he kind of blew up. And so that was one of them where it's like, I wasn't sure that he was going to make it. And odds are guys don't make it. Even when they had the physical prowess, they don't develop like that. I think Josh Allen has probably shown the most development mechanically of almost any quarterback, I think, in the league's history. And so that's the one that I absolutely crow, and I love Josh Allen now. I think that he's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, listen, when we started, Aaron Rodgers was like one of my guys, and I was like, man, this guy's awesome at football. He had a little bit of personality. And then as I, paid more and more attention to Aaron Rodgers, as you, a Vikings fan, came into the show, I became very tired of Aaron Rodgers. He became tiresome very fucking quickly.
Yeah, I think he gets worn out wherever he goes now.
Yeah.
How long before they stop?
Maybe not in Pittsburgh just yet.
Yeah, well, look, we're going to have an interesting conversation about that game here in a little bit. I probably will upset some Pittsburgh fans. That's perfectly fucking fine.
I love doing that.
But going on with our games here. So we'll hit up, I'm just going to go down the ESPN list here. And because I have the Vikings favorited as my team on there, they're the first one on the top. Sure, I'll talk about it. Why not? Because we don't get to talk about your Browns this week. It's basically a win, right? For your Browns?
No, we lost the bye as per usual. Kevin Stefanski is still the head coach. So
but you have a new play caller.
Woo!
But all right, like we'll get into this Vikings-Lions game. The Vikings go into Detroit. They end up getting the win 27-24, and they kind of held the lead for a majority of the game. I only got to listen to that game for the most part until I was able to rewatch it later on a very late flight coming back to Arizona. But, obviously I was stoked listening to it. It was tough because while I do love the Vikings radio network and Paul Allen, they are homers on that radio network, hardcore. And so everything was them bitching about the refs, this and that and the other, and making mistakes. And watching back the game, I do see some calls that I disagreed with for sure, particularly that late Jameson Williams touchdown, which was a pretty clear and obvious push off to the point that Isaiah Rodgers whipped his head back because it got pushed back. It is what it is. We still got the win, right? That's always one of the tropes, is that, you know, part of winning football games is not just beating the opponent. It's got to beat the ref sometimes too and deal with that bullshit. And the Vikings were able to go in there and get a win. And obviously the big talking point here is that JJ McCarthy was back. This was his third professional start. And while on the stat sheet, it wasn't phenomenal, I think that we saw more positives out of him than we did the rookie negatives that you are used to seeing. He even came out and said he was a little bit amped up for some of those throws, where he was overthrowing or a little bit off accuracy and things like that. But look, JT O'Sullivan at the quarterback school, again, like to promote other channels here. Fantastic channel that he's got on YouTube and on Patreon. I love his channel. He did a breakdown of the game, and he was very positive towards what JJ McCarthy put out there. He obviously highlighted some of the issues, the inaccuracies, and things like that. There were times, especially in one of their first drives, where Jordan Addison was open for what looked to be about a 40-yard touchdown, a corner route where as soon as Addison made his break towards the left for the corner, the cornerback sat down, and at that exact moment is when JJ decided to check it down to Aaron Jones for a 9-yard pickup instead of hitting Addison for a deep touchdown. And that was one of the things JT went over. He's like, as this guy grows and matures, he's going to know, because as soon as he threw the ball, JJ then pointed to Addison. Like, he knew, he saw it and knew it, was like, I fucked up. He's like, it's just the speed of the game. It's his third game. He's essentially a rookie. But the good news is he's still got a 9-yard completion on that. And so you're seeing positives. He's not taking advantage of everything that's there for him yet. But like, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. And look, it's really, really tough to quantify whether or not a guy has that clutch factor, that game-winning factor. But when you have a guy who, again, in his third start is got an opportunity to throw a pass and win the game, and he's able to make a difficult back shoulder throw to Jalen Naylor and seal the game, that kind of says something about him. You saw that in the Chicago game as well. Obviously, this is, you know, the trope was we've seen 8 quarters and only one of them has been good from JJ. I think now we have 4 to 5 quarters of pretty solid football from a guy, despite not statistically being the biggest day. Yeah, he had 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, but he went up against a Lions team that I really respect how good they are. And the Lions and Dan Campbell and Jared Goff have had the Vikings numbers for years now. And to be able to go into Detroit and get this win and actually hear some boo birds out there for that Lions team is pretty fucking impressive. So obviously I'm happy with the win. We both picked my Vikings to lose this one. And I think that has to be our motto going forward. We're just going to pick the Vikings to lose every game, because obviously it works out.
It did work out this week for sure. We talked about it, man, because I got to watch the game when it was live. I was like, JJ looked good, but he missed some throws that he shouldn't have missed. And it sounds like he owned that in the end, because he could have had a monster day. But I mean, he made the plays he needed to make. He used his legs well. Aaron Jones coming back, I mean, it was huge because he had a great day. Like, you guys got your running game going against the Lions defense that has been pretty kind of up and down at times this year. So the fact that you were able to slow down their running game to 65 fucking yards, you got your running game going and made JJ's life way easier. He made rookie mistakes. He missed throws for sure, but he did enough in good team play, and your defense stepping up got this thing done, which makes your entire division way more compact, because you guys come up, the Bears go up, the Lions drop, the fucking Packers, which we're going to talk about soon, drop a game. Your division's wild right now.
Yeah, look, we're
out on top of that thing.
The Vikings are in last place at 4-4 in our division, but we're only a game and a half back from first. And that tells you something about the NFC North and how fucking gritty it is this year. Yeah. And look, you brought up a good point. We were able to stymie that Lions run game. Traditionally, the Vikings have had a bad run defense this year. And all of a sudden, some of our guys that had not been performing, like Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, all of a sudden, they were a actual force in this game. We saw some crazy shit from Brian Flores where we were able to shut down that run game and get pressure on Jared Goff. The inaccuracy from Jared Goff in this game, and by inaccuracy, I mean he went from his normal like 75% that he normally has against the Vikings down to like a 65 to 63% at times during that game. That 10% made a big difference. Not having the run game there made a big difference. The defense absolutely stepped up in this game and absolutely should be applauded as well. It's tough to like crown someone as like an MVP on the Vikings from this game because we saw good things from so many different parts of this team, whether it be special teams blocking a field goal, whether it be the defense stepping up and shutting down that run game, or the offense getting it done when it needed to be done. So yeah, super proud of the Vikings for getting this win. They are now 2-0 against the division, the only undefeated team in that NFC North division. And JJ McCarthy now has more career divisional wins than Caleb Williams. All good things.
All good things. Speaking of Caleb Williams, let's go to the Bears-Bengals game. This one was fucking crazy. It ends 47-42. Bears come out on top. Do the Bears have just an unbelievable backfield that we have just been missing out on with Kyle Monangai and fucking DeAndre Swift, who is going to come back from injury? Or is this Bengals team just absolute dog shit who found a way to make a trade for a linebacker who was performing terribly, getting something back for him? Like, where do you land on this thing? Because this game was insane. I thought the Bears pissed this thing away, but the Bengals defense found a way to say, nah, hold my fucking beer, guys.
It's a lot more of the latter to me, and I don't want to be like denigrating the Bears in this one. Look, the Bears are 5-3 right now. They are way better than they were last year. It's showing that they have a good coaching staff and that offense is kind of starting to congeal a little bit. I still don't think Caleb Williams had a great day despite having a really good stat line. Like there were still some of the issues that, like I just talked about JJ McCarthy, that we're still kind of seeing some of those things with Caleb Williams, except for he's a year and a half into his career now, whereas JJ is not. That being said, it was just ungodly terrible defense from this Bengals team. They couldn't stop anything. The Bengals right now are on pace to give up the most points ever in a season. And I'm not sure that it even matters that there's an extra game added on with 17 games compared to previous seasons. They are giving up routinely 35 or more points a game. Unless you're the fucking Steelers, then they're going to beat you apparently. But it's fucking wild. You have Joe Flacco put up almost 500 fucking passing yards and 4 touchdowns, and you still end up losing the game. The last 5 minutes of this game was
bad shit.
So
crazy.
bad. It was so bad, yet it was so entertaining. The fact that Colson Loveland was able to get the ball where he did and then ping pong off of fucking dudes like that, wild. It should bring up some questions about the Bears defense as well, that they were able to give up that much. But then you got to keep it in perspective. You have the Bears go out there on offense, and their best receiver this year, Rome Odunze, doesn't catch a pass, and they're able to put up 47 points. Whereas the Bengals are going up against this Bears defense, which is better than the Bengals defense. But the Bengals are going in with obviously a quarterback that can sling the ball and 2 top-tier wide receivers. That Bengals offense should be putting up a lot of points and a lot of yardage against most teams. The Bears aren't typically a 47-point type of offense. They're an okay offense. They're a good offense. Obviously, they're 5-3. But the fact that they're able to put up 47 is much more of an indictment on that Bengals team than anything. And then the Bengals go out and they do make that trade. Logan Wilson ends up getting traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Logan Wilson just signed a extension, I believe a 3-year extension, and now has been riding the bench a little bit because they're putting some of their younger guys out there. So it was just a bad GM move to resign him if you were then going to start playing the rookies, because Logan Wilson has shown in the past to be a pretty solid linebacker. Like not a linebacker that's going to like move the needle. He's not going to move the needle for the team. I mean, he was still pretty good last year. Like he gets high tackle volumes. He had some injuries last year that he had to deal with, but you still decided to give him an extension. Why? You know, if you are going to bring in your rookies and decide to play them, like I don't know that the rookies are playing better than Logan Wilson would have been, to be completely honest. It's an indictment for sure on this Bengals defense, and it's also just a bad look when you do have your players just saying just one fucking stop, guys. Come on, that offense is doing all they can to win these games. But in the NFL, you need to have some semblance of the other side of the ball. Otherwise, this is going to be your fate.
Yeah, it's insane. The comments afterward in the locker room were very strong. Like, fucking
understandable, but also not a good one.
Yeah, that's tough. Now, Jamar Chase was much more democratic with his stance.
Compared to what, Chase Brown?
I think it was Chase. It was like,
yeah.
These motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That was like a scene out of Any Given Sunday. That was them. That was him talking shit, and then Shark going out is going to cut his car in half.
Yeah. And look, you did bring up the running game here for the Bears. We'd be remiss not to talk about it. Common guy, fantastic game there. 26 carries, 176 yards, 6.8 average on carry. A really good day from him. And then 3 catches for 22 yards as well. I like Monangai, but I wouldn't say that this is going to be like the Rico Dowdle breakout type of situation. You were going up against this Bengals defense that is pretty fucking terrible. Monangai is probably right now trying to kind of take that little bit of a scatteroo role, though, because he is the type of guy that is like north-south, I'm going to run over your fucking body. And I like that out of him. And that's a nice little kind of switch up from what they typically have there with Swift. So as far as like fantasy purposes and things like that, I think that he's an interesting guy to continue to hold on to and see what happens. But I wouldn't expect this sort of production against most normal average NFL defenses.
As Marshawn Lynch used to say, you just want to run through a motherfucker's face over and over and over and over. And I'm sure you are ready to run through this next team's fucking face, because this next game, I'm sure you're very happy to preface. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And we stick in the NFC North here with the Panthers versus the Packers up in Green Bay, and the Panthers are able to get that win 16-13. Rico Dowdle has yet another good day and does look to be the real deal. 25 carries, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. But more than anything is this Panthers team that, again, they are 5-4 right now. That's wild to think about, that they are above 500. And they go and they take down this Packers team, dropping them to 5-2-1 and keeping that NFC North within grabs for everybody. And it really makes you kind of question what type of team is this Packers team that used to be their superpower playing at home. And then you go and you drop one to the Panthers of all teams. Jordan Love, another kind of pedestrian day. Look, 272 yards, but that interception.
Real quick though, because I gotta ask: are people finally starting to wake up to what we have been trying to say for fucking years? That Jordan Love is not the guy. Like, he is not big game guy. He is not going to be like, people are asking finally, like, is he maybe kind of shitty? Yeah, I think he kind of might be shitty. Like,
the clutch gene is not there with him. I don't think that he has, like, I almost want to whip the cigarettes out here. He's not the worst quarterback out there. He's an NFL quarterback. We can see him put up volume, but he's not the type of guy that can also carry an offense like a lot of his predecessors. And he gets a lot of credit for the team being just a well-rounded team and putting together these volume situations, which I think we're going to see a gigantic hit now that Tucker Kraft is out for the year with a torn ACL. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens to this Packers team, specifically this offense, with Tucker Kraft out, because he was by far and away the best receiver on that team. You go out and spend a first-round pick on Matthew Golden. Guess who has more receiving touchdowns than Matthew Golden right now? Caleb Williams, quarterback for the fucking Bears. You're not getting a whole lot out of your receiving core there, other than Tucker Kraft. And a lot of it is these volume yards where you're not seeing a whole lot out of it. You're not seeing the Packers blow anybody out of the water on offense already. The strongest point I think that they have right now is that running game with Josh Jacobs. But teams are going to start to stack the box a little bit more, and they're going to force Jordan Love to beat them through the air. And while, again, he can put up good volume yards, I don't think that he has the accuracy or the clutch capability that if they do get punched in the mouth, that he's going to be able to lead them back and make any sort of a comeback. We've started to see more of the national media start to talk about this, specifically the media coming out of Green Bay, where they are getting upset with some of the play. Like they are used to seeing the Brett Favres, the Aaron Rodgers and stuff out there. And it's all hunky dory when he does put up those volume stats and they get the win. But when it's on his shoulders, it doesn't seem like he's able to actually elevate that team around him like you would hope a quarterback would be able to.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, this fucking Packers team, they should have been good. You would think they would be good enough to win this game regardless, right? Because we've been down on this Panthers team now, but they are 5-4. Imagine where this team would be if they were getting, I don't know, average starter quarterback play. Because Bryce Young was fucking terrible in this game.
Yeah.
He didn't help this team win this game. So I think that's even more of an indictment on Jordan Love. You didn't even get outplayed by the other quarterback, and you couldn't find a way to beat the fucking Panthers. Make that make any goddamn sense to me.
Micah Parsons probably kind of put it best. He's like, if the other team's quarterback's putting up 100 yards, and of course I'm paraphrasing here, but if another team's quarterback puts up 100 yards and they beat you, it's like, that's just, you're not playing good football.
Exactly.
Because that's not a stat line that beats you. And yes, stat lines don't matter sometimes, but that's when you add the context.
2 yards and an interception, and you win the fucking game?
Absolutely. We're adding the context here. Bryce Young didn't have a good day. The Packers just had a much worse day.
And a lot of yards.
Yards ain't points.
No, yards are not points. Yeah, Jordan Love is not the dude. I don't think he's the guy that can lead him to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that they need another explosive offensive weapon to pair with Kraft, but you're not getting that this year. The trade deadline's over. You're not going out there and getting a guy. And now that you've lost Kraft, like that was their opportunity to try to go out there and make some sort of a move to bring in some offensive talent, and they didn't do it. So I think it is going to be damning for this team. Yes, we're going to be getting into colder months where they can focus a little bit more on the run game, but you have to have some sort of a passing attack in the modern NFL.
Yeah. Kind of important nowadays.
Yeah. But next up, Chargers and Titans out in Tennessee. The Titans drop another one here. Chargers win 27-20. This game was relatively close here because we did see kind of a bad day from this Chargers team overall. Yes, Justin Herbert threw for 250 and 2 touchdowns, but the running game was really not there for this Chargers team. And a big part of it, and really something we have to watch going forward, is the offensive tackle situation there. Not only was Rashawn Slater down and out for the year, but you've just lost Joe Alt again to another high ankle sprain, one that requires surgery. He is now on season-ending IR. 2 of the best tackles in the game on this Chargers team, which obviously help keep Justin Herbert upright and help that running game when you have a guy like Kamani Vidal, who, yes, I like him a lot, but he is your 3rd/4th string running back. And you have to have a good line blocking for that sort of a depth chart guy when he's going out there and starting. So that's a big loss for them. They did make a move right at the end of the trade deadline, though, to get Trevor Penning from the Saints. Now, we've had our thoughts on this show about Trevor Penning.
It's a walk and hold, dude.
It definitely can be. But I feel like he could be a good Harbaugh type of guy. Like they kind of, that mentality can fit together because he is a bit of a bruiser, a knucklehead. And I think that was probably a smart move by them to bring someone in because they have seen, tremendous attrition along this offensive line, which is kind of the heart and soul of the Harbaugh offense, is being able to push people around on the line. It'll be interesting to see if that's enough to keep them kind of afloat, because this Chargers team came out swinging in the first game of the year and have looked really good. But the amount of injuries that they've sustained this season so far makes it pretty scary to see what their future is for the second half of this season.
Yeah. Justin Herbert did a really good job distributing the ball in this game, man. You're seeing Oronde Gadsden really take on a big role in this fucking offense. Like him, Ladd, Keenan Allen, fucking Quentin Johnston, as long as Quentin is going to be back healthy. Like this offense, they have a ton of weapons, but they are going to have to be able to protect. Penning at tackle, I think, has always been a scary idea because he is going to hold out on the edge, especially if he's going against a really capable guy with speed on the edge. Like that's when he is constantly being called for holds. Now, if you want to really lean back into this run game, great. but they have so many weapons that are really starting to pop for this passing offense. I think it's going to be hard to not want to use Justin Herbert, but with the loss of both of these fucking tackles, man, we might have to see a changing of game plans from this Chargers team. Titans are still struggling, man. Cam Ward is struggling. He doesn't have anybody to fucking throw the ball to. That team is bereft of offensive skill player talent. They don't have a fucking soul that scares you at really any level. So I feel bad for Cam. There's not much else to say about this Titans team right now. They're a bad team.
Yeah. And the Titans actually did get possibly a little bit worse here. They traded linebacker or edge rusher Draymond Jones to the Ravens for the trade deadline for a conditional 5th round pick in 2026. Draymond Jones is definitely a role player, and I think that he'll fit in well with Baltimore because they can always use more pass rushers in Baltimore, especially since they've had guys go down along that kind of front 7, front 8 for that Baltimore defense. But that's not even a fire sale there for the Titans. They didn't really do much to kind of help themselves going forward in the future, but they did just kind of continue to show that they are going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year and really have to take a hard look at resetting going into the future. Titans did receive calls about some of their defensive tackles, particularly Devondre Sweat, a guy that we kind of talked a lot about during the draft process. But they said that they did want to keep him because they feel that he's like a cornerstone of the future along their defensive line and has had a pretty decent year as well. And Jeffrey Simmons, obviously people were interested in him, but he's been off the table pretty much, which makes a lot of sense because he's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, he's fucking exceptional. So I don't think they're going to be inclined to trade him ever unless they want. You'd have to come in with an exceptional package.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've got a decent package. Not Jeffrey Simmons.
Very average. Very average package. But speaking of things that are somewhat average, let's talk about Falcons, Patriots. Falcons lose another game, 23-24. Patriots get the win. Patriots kind of controlled this entire game. It got contentious late at the end of the game. Falcons kicker woes still plaguing that team. They dropped to 3-5. This team that was going to be really, really good this year. All the Falcons fans told me so. What the fuck is happening? What is going on? This Patriots team, listen, I think that they are good. I think they got maybe a little lucky here in this game. They took their foot off the gas a little too fucking early. They should have kept trying to score, but they get the win. Michael Penix, another decent day, 3 touchdowns. They didn't do enough until right at the very end. I felt like this game was in the control of the Patriots basically the entire fucking way.
Yeah, the Falcons had no semblance of a run game in this one, and when you have Bijan, I think that's you look at the games where they let Bijan go wild. Those are the ones that they win and they win handily. And in their past couple losses, Bijan has been really stymied. You have to find a way to get him involved. And if you don't, that's when you're looking at, look, yes, they did barely lose this one. It was a John Parker Romo missed extra point at the end, which now they've cut him as well. And it makes me think that the Falcons special teams, specifically their coaching at the kicker position, might be part of the problem because Younghoe Koo has shown in the past to be a solid kicker. John Parker Romo, I know, is a solid fucking kicker because he kicked on my fucking Vikings team, did fantastic for us. And then just go and fucking cut him because he missed an extra point there. Like, he's been pretty fucking solid since being there in Atlanta. You're probably got an issue somewhere else, I would say, with your kicking game rather than just the kicker. That being said, if you're not getting the run game going for the Falcons, you're losing the heart of your team. Yes, Penix had himself a decent day, but what really starts to put teams on their back is when you let Bijan eat, and he wasn't able to. And part of that does, credit goes to the Patriots. They were able to hold him. I'm sure the Falcons attempted to get Bijan involved, but when you're only running Bijan 12 times, I think that part of the onus has to go on the Falcons. We're going to talk about this with some other teams going forward, but you can't get away from the run game when you do have an elite running back. Even if it's not working for you early, you have to stick with it. Colts. You have to stick with it because that is part of the formula of what can make you a winning team. And now the Falcons sit in third place behind the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South.
Insane, man. The Panthers are up there. Listen, I was not super high on the Falcons team. I've continued to bury them week in and week out. Good Falcons, bad Falcons. I think now it's bad Falcons multiple times. We'll talk on Saturday if we're going to get good Falcons anytime soon. It will very much depend on that offensive line has been not great recently. They haven't been able to protect as well.
My big disappointment here, though, is that the trade deadline did come and go, and the Patriots didn't make any moves of note. They did trade away Kyle Duggar and got a 6th-round pick in 2026, but they traded Kyle Duggar and a 6th-round pick for a 6th-round pick from the Steelers. It just doesn't make sense to me unless you're just trying to offload that contract. But the Patriots aren't hurting for money necessarily, so I would have expected them to get something more. But Patriots were one of the teams I was kind of banging the table for of like, hey, you guys are doing really good right now, and you have the chance to have a very good season record-wise, but you need to kind of re-solidify some spots on your team. Obviously, there are still weaknesses along this team that are being kind of propped up a little bit by good coaching and a good vibe around the team. But they've got the opportunity with the cap space and everything that they do have to go out there and make some moves, and they didn't really do anything today, which was disappointing to me. But I suppose that, you know, also as a fan of the Patriots, I would be disappointed in that as well. But it's probably the right move if you're trying to do the right way of building a team, which is primarily through the draft and maybe a couple key free agents. So it's tough to be super disappointed in them, but in more of like a flashy way. I would have loved to have seen the Patriots go out there and make a move for some guys, particularly a running back, because, you know, while Trevion Henderson did get the start in this game,
looked good too.
14 carries and 55 yards, and then another 32 through the air. That's a good day for him, but they could have probably gone out there and tried to get like a Breece Hall. Yeah, it's divisional trade, but a 3rd-round pick for Breece Hall, I think, could have been worth it. There were trade requests out there for Breece Hall. The Chiefs offered a 4th-round pick. It's been put out there, and they said, no, we want a 3rd. And the Chiefs said, all right, cool, we're out. Like Breece Hall has shown in years past that he can be a really solid running back, especially if he's part of a tandem. You pair him and Trevion up, and then you get Ramondre Stevenson back, and you have kind of a deep backfield. That would have been a cool thing to see. They did get a little bit of extra receiving help there, but that was just through a signing of Brennan Rice, Jerry Rice's son, who probably might not see the field. I would have loved to have seen them go out there and make a move for some more defensive players and like a wide receiver or something. But again, it's probably the more prudent move for long-term success to focus on the team, the guys that you have, developing them, and then developing through the draft as well.
Forgot that Kayshon Boutte went out in that game. So
yeah,
not going to get a wide receiver is a peculiar move. But listen, they moved to 7-2, and their schedule is one of the easiest, if not the easiest in the NFL the rest of the way still. So
next up, we have the 49ers and the Giants. 49ers get the win in New York or New Jersey, whichever way you want to look at it. 34-24. Big day from Christian McCaffrey. This Giants team, Jaxson Dart is working with peas and peanuts. Not a whole lot.
What the fuck do you want these guys to do, man?
Yeah.
Listen, I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for Dable. Like, they have lost so many offensive pieces. They're still putting up 24 points. Now, you can't really account for the defense. Like, they gave up 34 points. Christian McCaffrey's fucking good, and the 49ers are a good goddamn team. But everybody's burying Dable, saying he should have been fired after this game. What the fuck do you want these guys to do? Like, they have talent, and they don't have it on the field at the moment.
Yeah, look, I like their hire of Joel Shane as a GM, but I think that this is less about Dable and more about Shane, because this roster is got some big issues on it, and that probably should have been addressed via the draft, via free agency, and they really haven't done that. It would scare me as a Giants fan to fire Dable when you are seeing the sort of a progress from Jaxson Dart. Don't want to remove that, but you do need to start hitting better in the draft and in free agency going forward, because I think that this team has the potential to make leaps and bounds next year when they start getting these guys back, when they get a Scatterby back, they get a Malik Neighbors back, add another receiving option there, try to bolster that offensive line a little bit. And then the defense, like I've kind of said, I think their defense is solid, but obviously giving up 34 points is tough, but that's because the offense can't stay out there on the field because they don't have weapons. Like this team, I think could be one of those teams that makes a big jump next year, and I think it will be really interesting to watch their offseason. But right now, they are, I feel like, doing the best that they can with the pieces that they have. I mean, I do feel bad for Jaxson Dart in particular, just because he's put up 191 yards and 2 touchdowns and another 56 on the ground. Like he's having and a touchdown on the ground. Like he's having good showings there, but he's not getting the support that he needs.
And that's going to happen, man. This Giants team is kind of lacking on talent on the field. They have talent. It's just all fucking banged up. So you can talk about roster construction for sure there, not having guys as backups, not having any depth. That's definitely a GM issue. But these people that are like, oh, fire Daboll for what's happened. I don't know what the fuck you want from the guy. I don't know what you're expecting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary thing because I do think that they should keep Daboll. Like I haven't seen enough to this point to say like he has to be jettisoned. You see guys like Daniel Jones go out and perform pretty well, except for this week. On other teams that have well-constructed offenses around them, you can see what this Giants team could be with a well-constructed offense there. It's a personnel issue rather than a coaching issue in my eyes. But with that, speaking of Daniel Jones, our next game, Colts versus Steelers, and Steelers get a win here. This is the one that I think I'm going to upset the Steelers fans about. The Steelers win 27-20. The Steelers didn't win this game. To me, plain and simple, watching this game, the Steelers did not look good and did not win this game. The Colts had the ultimate fumble here. What was it, 6 turnovers? You see Daniel Jones have his worst game, and you saw Shane Steichen get away from what they were doing and probably feel the pressure of playing in an away environment. This rowdy Pittsburgh team and their fans, and they get away from the run game, and they get away from what makes them good, and they start feeling desperate and start making desperation moves. And when you do that, more often than not, you're going to have some of these issues and turnovers, and that's what causes Daniel Jones to have 3 interceptions, 14 rushes for Jonathan Taylor. Same thing I said for Bijan. Get away from what makes you good, and more often than not, that's going to result in a loss, especially when you have as many turnovers as they did. It was just a really, really ugly showing from this Colts team. The Colts beat themselves. I feel no different. All this talk about Daniel Jones has become Daniel Jones like he was before. I think is bullshit. I don't feel any different about this Colts team. I feel like, hey, they need this sort of a fuck up to reconsolidate and say, yeah, we can't do that again. We can't feel like we're on our heels and let the other team then push us over. We have to fucking reset our feet, do what we do best. Because if they had just started to run the ball more, I think that the game script changes. They start to get to more of a neutral, even feeling place. And then they're able to do what they do as a team and whoop on motherfuckers. Because I still feel like this Colts team is the best team in the AFC and one of the best teams in the NFL right now, despite this loss. And it's probably really frustrating for a lot of those other teams in the AFC to see Pittsburgh get this win because it feels a little bit phony. You have Aaron Rodgers throw for 203 yards and a touchdown. Not a big day. You see 0 run game from this Pittsburgh team. The passing game wasn't prolific. The run game was atrocious. They still can't get the ball up and down the field very well in Pittsburgh. But they're able to get the win because you're giving them short fields. You're giving them all these turnovers. You're giving them tons of opportunity to get scores. It was the Colts lost this game. They gave the game to Pittsburgh here, and they still only lost by a touchdown. Like, I don't feel any different about the Colts. I think that they're phenomenal. And the rest of the AFC is probably pretty pissed right now that this happened because the Colts, they're like, shit, we just lost the game. We're still one of the best. The Steelers, it just feels like a phony win to me.
Yeah. So Daniel Jones lost this game. That's what happened. It wasn't that the Steelers won. The Daniel Jones lost this game. This is his worst game in a very long time. I mean, he had 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles, and he lost 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he lost the ball 6 times. 1 time he got it back. That's an insane number for a quarterback. That is about as bad as you can fucking have. And they still only lost by 7 points. And they were -5 in the turnover differential. And they only lost by 7 points. If Daniel Jones does not have his worst game of the year, quite possibly one of the worst games of his fucking career, in terms of taking care of the ball, the Colts probably win this thing. It's good job, Steelers. You got to win. Everybody out there saying that we were wrong. Yes, yep, we were 100% wrong. That don't mean the Steelers are fucking good, though. This win does not mean a damn thing about the Steelers. It had everything to do with Daniel Jones and him having a fucking awful game.
Yeah. And I think that what we've seen from Daniel Jones this year and this Colts team still goes to show that they're a good team. They're going to be good going forward.
They might
like
even
unless
be exceptional on the defensive side of the ball now because they made a massive fucking trade today.
Yeah. Unless Daniel Jones fully regresses, unless this sends him into the shadow realm where he can't get out of his fucking head, I think they're going to bounce back and be perfectly fine. But like you brought up, they did go out there. They made a big move. One of the biggest issues with this Colts team this year has been the amount of passing yards that they give up on defense. Defense is still good, but they are definitely that bend, don't break style defense where they're giving up a lot of passing yards. Well, they did a little bit to address that. They go out and trade for Sauce Gardner, 2 first-round picks, and Adonai Mitchell to bring in Sauce Gardner, who has been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, is having a down year for sure on that kind of paltry Jets team, who had a fire sale today in general. But bringing in Sauce Gardner immediately upgrades that secondary. He probably is super fucking happy because he's going to a really good team now with a huge, good complement of players around him. This is a win it now, we are in our window type of move made by the Colts. I kind of love it for him.
Yeah, so the Colts, this move is exceptional. Sauce Gardner is a fucking dog. You say he's having a down year. I mean, he's not having a fucking exceptional year. But, I mean, if you look at his numbers over the last 16, 18 games, he's amazing. So adding him to this Colts defense, who's going to generate pressure, he can help lock down one side of the field, and then you can help on the opposite side. You can double. You can cut down on giving all these fucking yards. And then if you can do that, maybe you'll get Daniel Jones the ball a little bit more. Maybe we can run the ball a little bit more because we're stopping the opposing defense more. If you can get the ball back more. Now, granted, Jonathan Taylor can only run the fucking ball so many times. But if they can get the ball back more, they can get the ball out of Daniel Jones's hands more. Like they can find quick game. They can do different things. And you're not going to depend on it, have to throw 50 fucking times to come back in a game when they should have, like you said earlier, kept trying to run the ball a little bit with Jonathan Taylor. But once the turnover started happening, it just spiraled from there. The offensive coordinator went into full panic mode. It's like, well, we got to fucking throw the ball to get out of this thing. And just, it was a catastrophe.
Yeah, absolutely. Big trade for them. Next up, we have the Broncos and Texans. Broncos get the win. This was one that we were a little bit scared about because Texans were favored at home. And we're like, what the fuck? And we went ahead and went for it anyways. And we picked the Broncos. And sure enough, Broncos fucking won. We broke the curse, Mike. But the Broncos barely got the win.
We did not break the curse for shit. I think the only reason that we got that go our way was because somebody tried to kill CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
That is what happened.
That's true. Yeah. CJ Stroud goes out early with an injury. And
Bo Nix award should come back because Bo Nix had a Bo Nix day, but they found a way to get the win.
Yeah, and it took a little bit of a comeback. Broncos had to score 11 points there in the fourth quarter to get that win, but it was hanging at 15-15 for a little while, and I was like, oh, man, we're going to see another one of these weird tie games. But it was 2 really solid defenses going against each other and 2 quarterbacks that were performing a little bit more like backups. Yes, Bo Nix did throw 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, but kind of a paltry day from him. And then you have Davis Mills going in, which you expect to see a Davis Mills type stat line from him. A real low scoring game. Texans were able to keep it close, but they weren't able to get the win there at home. Dropped 3-5. Broncos up to 7-2 and get that dub.
Yeah, man. The Texans team, their offensive line is a massive issue. Defense is good. They have some skilled players. Hopefully, CJ Stroud gets healthy. At this point, at 3-5, with the fucking viciousness of that hit, I could see him missing at least a couple of weeks. And if this season gets off the rails, just let him rest. Let's get everybody through this fucking season. And let's come back next year and try to attack this thing. Let's attack the offensive line in the offseason. Broncos, I mean, found a way to get it done. RJ Harvey is a interesting Swiss Army knife type player for that offense. Has been pretty valuable to my fantasy team the last couple of weeks.
For sure. All right. Next up, we have the Jaguars and the Raiders, and Jaguars eke out a win in overtime, 30-29. I didn't get to watch this game. Brock Bowers went off. That's about all I know from it. And the Raiders ended up getting another loss. Jaguars ended up adding a little bit of offensive talent today as well, before the end of the trade deadline.
Yeah. God, who did they trade for today?
Jacoby Myers. They got that firsthand look at him playing up against the Raiders and said, why don't you come home with us? Come on the plane.
Well, they send Travis Hunter to IR. So they have to try to address that because they're trying to compete this year. They're at 5-3. They get out of this thing. I do love the big balls move by Pete Carroll to go for 2 to try to win this fucking thing. I appreciate that. No ties. Fuck ties. Go and try to win the game. But I mean, I wanted the Raiders to win, even though I picked the Jags, because I want to have a better pick. I want Carnell Tate at some point in the first round of the draft this year. I don't know if that's going to be all the way up at the top or where it's going to happen, but as good win-ish, they should have beat the Raiders by a lot more than this, man. It felt like they did not perform the way the Jags have performed recently. Brock Bowers did anything and everything he wanted to. That defense for the Jags had been performing pretty fucking well. And Brock Bowers,
it was the Jags defense that really didn't show up in this game. Because look, quietly, Geno Smith had himself a decent day. Almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yes, had an interception. But a big part of that is Brock Bowers being back and him clicking with Geno. So quietly, look, we've trashed a lot on Geno. Geno had himself a decent day in this one. And so that Jags defense did not really show up to play like they should until it came down to the end, that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, NFL record set in this game as well. Cam Little sets the record for longest field goal, 68 yards. So a lot of crazy shit happens in this game. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that it didn't tie, that it came down to somebody trying to make a play. And, man, sucks the way it ended, though. Like, don't even get to see the ball go into the end zone. Fucking swat at the line.
Yeah, for sure. Is just Pete Carroll going back to passes at the goal line, right?
That's kind of his MO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently.
All right, man. Let's head into this next game. This was not much of a game. Saints, Rams. Rams get the win, 34-10. Tyler Shuck played football, kind of, for a little bit. Looked decent at times. Had a lot of misses. This Saints team is bad. They're really, really bad. They're going to be bad. The Rams team's good, especially compared to the Saints team. There's not a lot to break down in this game.
No, like we talked about in our show that came out on Saturday, the Saints said, hey, we had an opportunity to get Spencer Rattler out of there. You had a little bit of a down game. Let's put in Shuck so that we can solidify our spot as one of the worst teams in the league to make sure we get that good draft pick. They succeeded here. Your leading rusher was Taysom Hill with 30 yards of rushing production there. That shows the kind of thought process I think that's going through that team, that coaching staff, that locker room of what they're trying to do there. But Saints did actually make a trade as well today, sending Rashid Shaheed over to the Seattle Seahawks, which I think we could probably talk about that a little bit more when we get to that Seahawks team.
Sure.
But it's interesting that one of their most productive, and in this day, their most productive receiver is off the team, further signaling that they are in tank mode going into week 10.
Yeah, they're tanking. You can't, there's no way you can say that they're not tanking. Shaheed is going to be special for that Seattle team, though. I'm excited to talk about that when we get to that. We're a couple more games, but I think he's a dog, and with Jaxson could be really good.
Yeah. Next up, Chiefs and Bills in a game that, you know, it sounds really good on paper, mattered probably to the Chiefs because, you know, with the loss that they ended up incurring here to the Bills, they are, if the season ended right now, not in the playoffs at 5-4. But Bills defense actually showed up a little bit in the run defense today. Good showing. Josh Allen goes out there and gets the win 20-21. Another really good run game from James Cook and Josh Allen, 273 yards and touchdown. They did just enough to get the win here.
Yeah, man. Josh took care of the ball. I mean, he hit his guys. The defense showed up. Pat Mahomes had a really down game, like sub 50% completion percentage. That's incredibly rare for any quarterback in the NFL, let alone a guy named Patrick fucking Mahomes. Like, that was some of Pat. That was also some of that Bills defense really showing up and showing out. The Bills, I mean, I felt probably were a little disrespected. I felt probably disrespected being home dogs to this Chiefs team. They've had tons of battles, and in this one, Josh Allen outperformed. I mean, he had 3 incompletions, 23 for 26. And you're looking at Pat Mahomes' fucking stat line, 15 to 34.
Yeah, look, the Bills were after Mahomes all day. They got 15 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, and I believe that they pressured him on over 50% of his dropbacks, which is quite a bit. When you don't have
Mahomes traditionally good against the blitz, though.
Yeah. So it was definitely a down day for them. I feel like the thing that is kind of lacking from this Kansas City team on offense is their ability to fall back on a run game. Kareem Hunt, who's had, you know, those good moments in his career and is more effective at running the ball in short yardage situations than the tush push is. He's also not the type of guy that you want to be your lead back. And 11 carries, 49 yards, and then you know, a who's who list behind him running the ball. They need a little bit more of a solid running game there to kind of take some of the pressure off of the pass game of Pat Mahomes. Again, they tried to make a trade today for Breece Hall, offered a 4th round pick, said no, we need a 3rd. And if I was the Chiefs, I think I probably would have done that because that really would have helped your chances to have a strong run game going forward for the rest of the season. That being said, it'll be interesting. Clyde Edwards-Helaire back there.
Dude, I was going to say, full transparency, had no idea he was on that fucking team anymore.
Yeah, he had spent some time with the Saints, but they actually brought him in onto the practice squad, I believe, in the last week or so and elevated him. Yeah,
well, listen, I wanted Brashard Smith to have a bigger role because I thought he could be explosive. That hasn't really come to fruition. They haven't had a really solid running game since, I guess, Kareem Hunt the first time around there. Since that moment, since that fucking kick in the casino, the running game has taken a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up, Seahawks and Commanders. Seahawks get the win here, 38-14. A really bad game for the Commanders, but of course, the big thing to talk about, of course, surrounds the quarterback. Yeah. Sam Darnold, 4 touchdowns in the first half, 100% completion rating. Great day for Sam Darnold, right? No, we got to talk about Jaden Daniels. Yeah, it's his arm bent backwards, terrible dislocation for him. So he's going to be out for some time. I'm seeing anywhere from like, hey, a couple weeks after wearing a brace because it's his non-throwing arm to being out for the rest of the year. And with the
rest of the year sounds great.
With the way the Commanders are right now at 3-6, I think you probably should consider, barring Mariota going in and really making this team competitive, probably resting your franchise guy for the rest of the year because it's not the year for the Commanders right now. They also lose a couple other guys in Marcus Lattimore and Luke McCaffrey. So injuries plaguing this team at some important positions. Seahawks look to be a really good team, and the Commanders look to almost have just been dealt a knockout blow for the year.
Yeah, I mean the injury bug has bitten this team badly. There's not a lot else to say. The injury is gruesome. I can't watch things like that anymore. I've seen plenty of bodies and positions I don't like seeing them in. So when I see an injury like that, I can't fucking do it. So producer Amber had to make sure she covered that up on the thumbnail for us. It sucks, man. I love this kid. I think he's a special talent. Hopefully he comes back, he stays healthy. But this is one of the concerns that there were on coming out of college is that can Jaden Daniels stay healthy? Now, I don't think anybody's expecting fucking dislocation of the elbow to fall into that realm. And this is obviously the first time he's been hurt as a pro. We'll see how he bounces back from this. But you have to be a little concerned given the extent of the injury history that he has had. I hope for his sake that he comes back. But going to the other side, Sam Darnold fucking is a dog, dude. I was 100% wrong that Sam Darnold was going to regress to old Sam Darnold once he left KOC. He is playing exceptional fucking football. All the things that he has learned throughout his career, he is retaining them. He is putting that shit to practice. This offense, this team could be exceptional, especially with the addition of Shaheed, because he's going to give him another type of receiver. JSN can win on the routes. He can win deep. We've seen him do everything, right? But a guy that can just take the top off in Shaheed is going to open up the entire field for JSN, which is going to open up the running game more. You're going to get a guy out of the box because Shaheed can take the top off. So we could see some more Kenneth Walker. We'll probably see a lot more Charbonnet, but we're going to see more run. We're going to see more of the running game too with that trade. The Seahawks team, very good at 6-2. Beat the piss out of the Commanders here. They got better, in my opinion, at the trade deadline by adding a speedster at the wide receiver spot. So very excited to see where the Seahawks team can go. That defense, insanely good.
Leonard Williams had himself a hell of a game. Yeah. But yeah, that the Shaheed pick, Shaheed does feel like a number 3 style wide receiver to me, who is a little bit of a one-trick pony with those deep routes, but he does that exceptionally. He is fast as fuck, and we've seen that production in New Orleans with subpar quarterback play. Now you're putting him with a guy in Sam Darnold who does have the physical talent to really get that ball down the field.
It was a really good deep ball.
Has to be respected in that respect. So everyone's going to benefit from this. Yes, you bring up the run game, but you've got solid guys in JSN, who's one of the better receivers in the league, a guy in Cooper Kupp who is great working in that intermediate range, AJ Barner, who's a solid tight end. Those guys are all going to benefit because it's going to pull safeties and defensive help further down the field, because you have to respect that on every single play. You can run Shaheed on a post every fucking play, and you are going to start to pull guys and really start to spread that secondary thin and create much larger openings for those guys who are going to be able to eat in the middle of the field in the passing game. You think you're seeing good numbers from Sam Darnold right now. They might just get better after this trade. Well worth it for Seattle to go out there and make this move.
Absolutely. They didn't give up a ton of capital either. It was what, a 5th and a 6th?
I'd have to relook.
Yeah, I got it right here.
It wasn't anything crazy.
4th and a 5th.
Yeah. Worth it.
Yeah, it's completely worth it in my opinion.
But. All right. That takes us to our last game. Monday Night Football, Cardinals, Cowboys. Jacoby Brissett. Weren't sure if he was going to be playing. There was talks about Kyler Murray practicing and possibly going to be playing in this game. And so when we made our picks, we didn't know.
Yeah.
But Jacoby went in. Jacoby won.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett had himself a pretty decent day. 21 to 31, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns versus a pretty bad Cowboys defense. But Marvin Harrison, again, starting to look good. And damn, if Trey McBride can't catch touchdowns when he has a good quarterback throwing to him. Look, we've seen Trey McBride be a better tight end in the league, but he doesn't get the touchdown production, and that's been something that's thwarted him. I believe Kyler Murray has thrown 3 touchdown passes to him ever since they've worked together. Jacoby Brissett finds this guy in the end zone all the time. He is getting touchdown production from Trey McBride. It's making the offense that much better to have Brissett out there. And there were talks from Gannon about, Kyler's our starter. When he's back, he's back. Well, they come out today and say, Jacoby's going to start for us again next week, and we're going to give Kyler more time to heal. There was talks about if there was a soft benching. Yeah, there's talks about soft benching with JJ McCarthy. Not the case. This is a soft benching. This is we are seeing dividends from playing this backup compared to Kyler. We've talked about a lot on the show. I think that Kyler's time in Arizona is probably short, and this helps kind of solidify that. You're seeing a journeyman backup who I love, Jacoby. He's one of the better backup journeyman guys out there. But you're seeing a lot better production from him being out there than you were with Kyler.
The entire offense is better.
It's making you forget the fact that all their running backs have died in Arizona, and they're running out Zonovan Bam Knight as their starter. It's like you're seeing Marvin Harrison all of a sudden look a lot closer to that first round pick that he was.
Yeah, like a very good rapport with the backup quarterback. They were on the same page, knew where he got what the other guy wanted. And Kyler and Marvin have none of that, it feels like, unless there's a broken play. We talked about it in the Saturday, like the broken plays happen way too much with Kyler. Like he doesn't play on script enough. You get that with Jacoby. And Marvin Harrison is probably a guy that knows how to play on script. He learned from one of the best that's ever done it. So the idea that he should come, like, this is definitely a soft benching. When he comes back, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do, because they're going to have to make a decision. This is a team that has proven once that they will move off of their quarterback. Will they do it again? I don't know. It's going to be tougher to do with that contract. I don't know how much dead cap they're going to end up with if they trade him or what's going to happen, but I can't imagine it will be conducive to that Cardinals franchise.
I think it'll be conducive because if you move off of him,
he'll be gone, but the money is going to kill you for a couple of years.
Yeah, as we know, cap's a myth. You can always find a way around things. And we kind of talked about, hey, 2030 is right around the corner. They can set up weird incentivized structures to contracts to work with the new CBAs that are going to be coming out, all the gambling money and TV deals and us getting fucked by the networks. At the end of the day, you're seeing much better production from this guy than you are from the dude that you're paying a bunch of money. And then it's telling of what needs to happen. It's also telling for this Cowboys team that, man, that defense sucks balls.
Mega ass, dude.
And there was lots of talks. Jaire talking, hey, we got trades that are going to happen. Again, talking about it now. And then they made that trade for Logan Wilson, which I think, they do need some linebacker help. But I was like, man, he's acting like this is somehow going to save their season on defense. Logan Wilson is good, but he's not going to move the needle for me.
Right.
And then they do go out there and they make it a little bit more of a splashy trade. They get Quinnen Williams from Jets. They send Mozzie Smith up there in return along with some picks. And Quinnen Williams is a good defensive tackle. They now have one of the better defensive tackle duos in the league in Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams. And that will help. Not a ton. I think that the defense will be better. They did add 2 good pieces. But I don't know that it's going to make that huge of a difference overall. When you've got guys like Deron Bland fucking getting his ankles broke on national TV by Marvin Harrison, you've got a lot of other issues on that defense. And the offense, for what it's worth, didn't really do a ton in this game either. The Cardinals did a very good job of shutting them down. They also, for the Cowboys, are expecting to see Savon Ravel, one of the draft picks that we talked about a lot in this draft season.
Yeah.
He's coming back from that ACL finally. He's expected to probably be playing in this next game. I wouldn't expect him to go out there and make a huge impact immediately either, because he's a rookie who hasn't gotten to practice a whole lot because he's been injured. But he's a guy that I like, so that could be a benefit to them. But man, yeah, this Cowboys team absolutely looking like they could be the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFC. Except for they did get a little bit better on defense. So they won't be as bad, but they're still probably going to be bad on defense.
Yeah, but they didn't score any fucking points. Like the Bengals score points every week.
Yeah.
No matter what, they score fucking points. They'll give up 85, but the Bengals will score. The Cowboys only got 17 in this thing. Now, I know the Cardinals defense is pretty decent, but like when you look at the weapons that Dallas has, that's how they were supposed to win games this year, was this offense. So if you're getting only 17 fucking points and have an absolutely porous defense, you have no shot of winning. Dak is not elevating these guys, like his entire team. CD is a dog. George Pickens is a dog. Javonte has been good. The fucking offensive line in this was terrible, but Dak didn't really do much to pull his team up to really elevate them. And that's something that has been a big critique of Dak in the past, especially late in the year in the playoffs. So is Dak ever going to get over that hump? I'm not sure that's ever going to happen either. I feel like his time should have been short in Dallas as well, but they just re-signed him as well to a massive fucking contract. So Dallas is a long ways away from.
Dak Prescott is very much so like the Kirk Cousins situation. Like he's a high volume, high stat type of guy. And you put good offensive weapons around him, you can see a lot of good things. I think what really killed this team, though, Dallas, they did lose by 10 points, so it wasn't a blow up by any means. But having as many turnovers as they had, one interception from Dak, and then losing 2 fumbles when you have the turnover margin, they've lost 3 in this game. That's a big deal, and that's a problem. And it's tough to overcome that. You gave the other team 3 more opportunities to score, and they won by 2 scores. So, like, if those turnovers hadn't happened, if you were able to retain the ball, maybe this game gets closer. Maybe the offense rolls a little bit better for Dallas. But yeah, you would hope to be seeing them put up a lot more than 17 points in a game with how prolific their offense has the potential of being.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. Well, that is the recap, but we're not done. We got one more thing to do for the people as we roll up here on an hour and a half, a little bit longer show tonight. Thank you to everybody who tunes in. But my man, we got a game to pick for Thursday night. Are we ready to roll into that?
Yeah, absolutely. We got the Las Vegas Raiders going into Denver versus the Broncos. A little rivalry game here. The Broncos are favored minus 9.5 points, minus 105 odds, over under of 42.5. Really good Denver defense, questionable offense at times, going up against this Raiders team that doesn't seem to be able to do anything right now. I'm going to keep this short and simple. I can't trust the Denver offense to consistently be good. I can't trust Bo Nix to consistently be good. That being said, they still are all right a lot of times, and they have a really good defense. I can't lay 9.5 points, even though the Broncos had the potential of being 9.5 points better than this Raiders team. But I do like the Broncos to get the win at home on the back of that defense. So I'm going to take them on the money line.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tough line. 9.5 for a team that has not scored hardly any points until the fourth quarter the last 2 weeks. It feels like it's really unsafe to do that, even for a Raiders team that's not very good. Just traded away one of their weapons, Jacoby Myers. I can't see giving up 9.5. Now, in terms of betting your money, minus 500 on the money line, it's not great odds. I don't love minus 500. I think that's the safest play. I could see maybe an over 42.5. I know that defense is good for the Broncos, but if Bo Nix gets hot, they could score maybe 30 points on a shitty Raiders team. And Brock Bowers being back, maybe that Raiders team will score a little bit too. Over 42.5, I could maybe see, but I think the safest play and the way I'm going to go with tonight, even though I don't know that I would bet this in real life with my own money, minus 500 on the money line with the Broncos. I'll follow you there, my man.
All right. I do kind of like that overplay. If you were having to put a gun to my head and take something, I think I probably would take the over there because I could see this end up being like a 28-17, a 30-17 type of game here with the Broncos going on top. If that offense does decide to show up for the Broncos, and yeah, they did lose Jacoby Myers there with the Raiders. That's going to start to kind of focus where they're going to go with the ball more, and that's going to be the tight ends, Michael Mayers and Brock Bowers. So, and you might see Genty start to get more involved out of necessity as well. But yeah, it would be tough for me to drop those points just because I'm not trusting the offense right now.
Yeah, same way, man. Same way.
This is the type of game that you might want to put like a little 3-leg parlay on some of the players rather than bet the actual spread or money line.
Yeah, for sure. That's probably where I would go in this game as well. I'm not going to probably bet this actual line. I will put together a little 3-leg parlay to make it interesting for me because the Raiders kind of stink.
Yeah.
But my man, I appreciate you and to everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you guys. A bunch of you guys hopped in here. Thank you very much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. With that, I'm going to give my man Evo one last word before we get the fuck out of here.
I guess I got to piss off some Detroit fans because they were awfully salty at the end of our game. Kneecaps intact. Kneecaps are intact. Sorry.
Then bite them kneecaps off. Guys, thank you very much. This is Raw Dog Sports Watcher kneecaps. Fuck you, Mickey Mouse. Give me back my ESPN. With that, we're going to get the fuck out of here. See you on Saturday. Actually, no, I won't see you on Saturday. We're going to see you on a day earlier, probably Friday night. I got to talk to you about our next show. I got a thing going on Saturday.
All righty. Sounds good.
All right, guys. I appreciate you. This is Raw Dog Sports. I'm Mike. That's Evo. We're going to get the fuck out of here. See you.